Can we all rise for a pledge, please? Meeting's about to start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated.
Councilmember Totino?
Present.
Supervisor Albrecht?
Here.
Councilmember Foreman?
Here.
Councilmember Rye?
Here.
Ozzy, you look exceptionally happy.
Thank you. Can you guys scooch over a little bit, please?
Interesting. Oh. You did, you have a big smile.
Town is being run in a very good, efficient manner. So call to order, pledge, roll call. Everybody okay with the agenda?
Yeah. Yes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from May 15th. That was Annette's motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Hold.
Sir, you have to adopt the agenda as well.
Okay, I make a motion to adopt the agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to adopt the acceptance of minutes for May 15th. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next up is introduction of new employees. Who's a new employee? Raise their hand. Let's go one at a time.
Good evening.
How you doing? What's your name?
Vincent DiBattista,
And where do you live?
over in Dutchess Park, 34 Fairfax Road.
Okay. Well, what job are you looking for?
Working with Buildings and Grounds this summer is seasonal.
Oh, okay. Excellent. All right. Thank you very much. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Partridge. I'm a junior at John Jay High School. I play football and basketball. I was voted a captain for each team. I'm excited to work at the recreational center because I want to be a good influence on the kids. Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Where do you live?
Fishkill, New York.
Very good. Thank you.
You going to Michigan State?
I want to, yeah.
All right. Good luck.
Go green.
What position in football? I was quarterback.
Ooh,
Good, go green, we need help.
Good evening, how are you?
good. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm Michael Forlivio. I'm a sophomore at John Jay High School. I as well play for varsity basketball and football. And I've done a job like this with working with the kids in my elementary school. And I would like to be like a coach or work the scoreboard at the Fishkill Rec.
Thank you.
Very nice. Good. You a Knick fan?
I am.
Good. Good man. It would have been a no from me otherwise, so.
Anybody else? Any more hires? That's it? Okay. Next up will be presentations. The first one will be the state of the town. Cooper, hit it. Welcome, Fishkill residents, to Doug Phillips Park for the 2024 State of the Town Address. My name is Supervisor Ozzy Albrecht, and I'd like to begin. I'm excited to share with you the 2024 State of the Town presentation. This year's theme is Results Matter. As you review the accomplishments and projects outlined in this calendar year, you will see how the theme is brought to life. During my first 4 years as your town supervisor, I have worked to change many local laws to benefit you, the resident, rather than the special interests. I oppose high-density housing, developments preventing over 1,400 units from being built. During the COVID pandemic, I worked tirelessly to ensure the safety of both residents and staff will maintain business operations and revenue for the town by keeping Town Hall open. Our financial situation was much better when the crisis ended. Thankfully, this is all behind us now. The benefits of the current projects are clearly visible for all to see. These investments in the town are only possible due to the careful planning I was committed to as your town supervisor. First, we discuss our town parks. Over $2 million have been allocated to upgrading them. At Gearin Park, new drainage has been installed and the entire park has been repaved. 2 new basketball courts, 3 tennis courts have been resurfaced, along with a much anticipated new pickleball courts. Doug Phillips Park, where we are today, has also seen new drainage and the complete blacktopping of the entire park. In addition to our sensory park, which is in back of me, we added 6 brand new pickleball courts, which we are in right now. The basketball court, which is right behind us, has been resurfaced, and the canoe ramp that leads to the Fishkill Creek has been repaved. At Jean Van Pelt Park, drainage work has been completed and the canoe ramp to that part of the Fishkill Creek has been installed. The Verplank Garden Club has been commissioned to create a pollinator garden, and they're hard at work doing that. Finally, a new fishing deck will be installed this fall at that park. Highway Superintendent Estevan and his entire staff worked tirelessly to complete many of these projects before summer, ensuring our residents could enjoy them. The town of Fishkill Parks offers something for everyone. Besides the improvements to our parks, other projects are also underway to benefit our residents. A new roof is being installed at the Recreation Center, the town campus will be sealed and restriped, and the Highway Department will be repaving approximately 8 miles of roadway, including connected drainage issues. We have saved the town around $500,000 by constructing a new highway building in-house. And finally, after nearly 2 decades of effort, lighting will be installed at the baseball field at Shepherd's Park. Keep in mind that due to proper budgeting by my office, these projects are being paid for upfront without borrowing, bonding, or incurring future interest payments to you, the taxpayer. We are also striving for you, the residents, to have a vote on the sale of a property owned by the town. The law I helped enact was in response to the Rolling Hills project, where the town property was to be sold without real input from the residents. This unique opportunity will give you, the residents, a stronger voice in town matters. This vote will happen either this year or next year. This is one of the many steps we have taken to keep our government open. Next, we have expanded our Hometown Heroes banner program. The program, which started last year with 92 banners, has more than doubled to 216 banners this year. We have placed banners on additional roads that no matter where you enter the town of Fishkill, our local heroes will be seen. The town can be proud of the collaborative effort by so many of our employees to make this program such a success. These banners symbolize community spirit and pride, serving as a daily reminder of the sacrifices made by our family, friends, and neighbors. This program demonstrated my commitment, my continued support for our veterans. Additionally, our Town Wars Memorial will receive a new plaque honoring Private Sidney Schofield, who was killed in action during the Spanish-American War. This beautiful plaque will be special as it includes a historical photo of Teddy Roosevelt and his Rough Riders. The photo we chose is the unedited panoramic view to include the 10th U.S. Cavalry. What is unique about this photo is that with the new Buffalo soldiers on the outer edges, they can be seen, whereas in many photos they've been cropped out. This plaque will be installed and ready for our Veterans Day celebration. 2024 has seen the town's website get a very much needed facelift. The newly revised site features a photo slideshow, brighter colors, and newly arranged tabs and links. This effort was led by Debbie Colonna, our town's network administrator, and assistance from my secretary, Joe Perrone, and Councilman Brian Rye. Our main goal was to keep this project in-house and add a major cost savings to Fishkill taxpayers. It was a great success and has saved the town tens of thousands of dollars and has incurred no additional yearly maintenance fees. Moving forward, our website will have additional photos and tabs as needed as we continue to make improvements. Being in my 5th year as your town supervisor, I can say that my goal has been to improve every department within the town. I want to highlight that I want every department to run more efficiently and at less cost to taxpayer, but still maintain the highest level of customer service that can be provided. I feel that there have been great strides made except within the police department. Let me be perfectly clear. Disagreements and tension between elected officials and police administrators are nothing new and have persisted for many years across various agencies. However, I am immensely proud of the outstanding work that the men and women in uniform do for the town of Fishkill. They provide invaluable service to our community, and I wholeheartedly support their efforts. However, 2 main issues are vital to improving our police department remain unresolved. Firstly, police accreditation. This process ensures that the police department adheres to the higher standards. Typically, accreditation is achieved within 18 months. It has been now 5 years, and our department has yet to complete this process, which is unacceptable. The second issue is body cameras for our officers. The use of body cameras is widespread and essential for modern policing. Body cameras protect the police from dubious claims as well as residents that the town should incur. I helped secure over $600,000 in grant money for these cameras, yet to date, these cameras have not been purchased. These 2 issues remain the top priority for the police department. I will continue to work on these items until they are implemented. While we should always back the blue, it is crucial to remain that there needs to be accountability. Body cameras and accreditation facilitate this. Additionally, I'd like to highlight the staffing shortages in the local fire and EMS services. This issue has impacted our entire region. At the start of this fiscal year, the town forfeited its ambulance services deductible due to substantial cost increases. Fortunately, state and local officials are aware of this crisis and are collaborating to find solutions for these challenges. Now I'd like to address the significant improvements within our water districts. Since becoming supervisor, I diligently worked on updating the aging infrastructure in Fishkill. A notable water project this year in 2024 is the Merritt-Bickerhoff Water Interconnection. Initially estimated at $5.6 million some years ago, likely closer to $7 million today. Upon review, I proposed two crucial questions. Number one, why the high cost and how did the residents benefit? It was revealed that inflated costs was due to unnecessary additions like valve controls that would be added so developers would have excess water capacity when they wanted to build. You heard this right. The taxpayers of Fishkill are being used to fund future projects for developers. What we discovered is that all the additional cost was unnecessary at the present time. By eliminating these unnecessary expenses, I reduced the project cost to $1.2 million and using federal funds, resulting in zero cost to taxpayers, saving the taxpayers over $5.6 million. And if you come by Doug Phillips Park, you can see them working on it, and it should be completed by next month, the end of July. Residents' benefits have remained, but developers now need to pay for their own water improvements. This experience highlights the importance of water capacity management alongside enforcing the zoning laws and regulating development. The town has learned that managing water capacity and its allocation is crucial in controlling unwanted development. In the town of Fishkill, the residents hold the reins, not the developers. Those seeking to connect to water districts must negotiate with the town and cover expenses from their own profits, not the taxpayers' pockets. This year, a proposal to consolidate the Blodgett and Glenham water districts failed with a 2-2 vote, lacking the required 3 votes for approval. Councilman Totino and I oppose it for a simple reason. Glenham Water District has a surplus, while Blodgett Water District lacks it. Combining these districts could facilitate future development along the Route 9 corridor as a right. Maintaining separate capacities allows the town to enforce zoning laws effectively and adds leverage in negotiations with developers, safeguarding the interests of you, the Fishkill resident. You, the residents and taxpayers, have been the top priority of my administration. Let's revisit the opening of my State of the Town address. Results matter. Whether it's revitalizing your parks to provide a pleasant space for spending quality time with your family and friends, enhancing community safety in Fishkill, or ensuring prudent fiscal management of taxpayer funds for town projects, all these endeavors are significant. They've been achieved by listening to you and focusing on your needs. This administration has delivered the results that you deserve. Looking ahead, we're gearing up for the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Councilman Totino is spearheading initiatives like a passport book to visit all the historical sites around the town of Fishkill, rewarding completers with a small gift. There are many ideas being formulated for that and the event, with more news to follow as we move on. I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to all the residents of the town of Fishkill and to our dedicated employees, to which none of this would have been able to happen. The progress we made together is commendable. I'm excited about our future. Let's take pride in our community, the town of Fishkill. God bless you all, and God bless our great nation. Thank you very much. All right. That's my State of the Town. Next up is the Chief of Police doing a presentation update on body cameras and accreditation. What do you think? That's good?
Good evening, Supervisor, Town Council members. I'm here tonight to give you an update on the body worn camera grant. But before I do that, I'm going to address something that was stated at the State of the Town. I've been Chief of Police for 4 years. My anniversary was May 27th of this year. How we got to 5 years on accreditation, not sure.
Chief, when I interviewed for the position from Lieutenant to Chief of Police, I asked you about accreditation, and you told me you were working on it for 2 years. So it's more like 6 years.
Supervisor,
You told me that.
that's not true at all.
You told me that, sir.
During that meeting, I came to you and presented the idea of accreditation. That was my goal. I presented to you, and I couldn't take action on it until I became chief. So, I'm not sure where you come up with that information.
Are you
That's
saying
not-
4 years is the proper number?
I'm saying that I've been chief of police for 4 years, and yes, We did submit an application to DCJS.
Okay,
But understanding that there's a process.
Okay.
You can't begin accreditation until a majority of the policies have been,
okay.
revised or issued. Right now, after 4 years, 120 policies have been issued to the department members.
How many?
120 out of 160.
So let me ask you a question. So you have 120 policies done
120 policies.
out of
submitted.
160?
Correct.
So what constitutes a completed policy?
It has to be reviewed, analyzed, and edited so that it conforms to the needs of the town of Fishkill.
Okay, so what is the official, where you put it in the queue where you say it's done? The 120 policies and you have 40 more to go, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so the 120, how do you identify that they have been completed? So let's say New York State comes down and says, I want to see policy number 14. Do you have policy number 14 ready?
We do. So we just went through New York State certification and passed for the second year in a row. New York State DCJS sent a rep down, they audited our police department policies and determined that we met certification, and we've been certified by New York State for the second year in a row.
Is this certification or accreditation? I apologize.
Certification.
So certification is different from accreditation?
It is.
All right, so let's go back to the accreditation. How many policies are completed with accreditation?
120.
Okay, and if the state comes and says, I want to see item number 19 for accreditation, how do you show it to them?
We would show that through proofs of compliance.
Well, what is a proof of compliance?
This would be easier explained by Lieutenant Cadden. He's going to give that presentation shortly. I'd rather he do it all at one shot instead of me explaining part of it and then him giving his presentation.
Okay, fair enough.
So going back to the body-worn camera grant,
Okay, so right now we're shifting back to the body cameras.
that's correct.
Thank you, sir.
So all of the documentation has been submitted to to the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and we are just waiting for their approval. Approval is pending. Our BJA rep is away until June 17th. I have contacted her substitute, the stand-in until then, and requested that she review our records so that we can have the funds approved and transferred. I don't know if that's going to happen, but when she returns on June 17th, then she'll be able to release the funds.
Do we have to buy the body cameras first, or do we get the funds and put a receipt in? How's that going to work?
We could order the body cameras, but I don't want to make that commitment until we're 100% sure that the funds have been transferred.
And you have something, what is your, so with this $600,000, what is your plan? What cameras do you wish to buy? How do you plan to store it? Give us some basic examples.
So Axon is the leading manufacturer in body cameras across the country. That's what most of the agencies in Dutchess County, including the New York State Police, are using. That's what we decided to go with. Their product is clearly the best on the market today and offers the most comprehensive equipment and software available to our personnel. So the way we've laid this out is the grant is going to cover equipment, software, and training for the next 5 years. Comes to approximately $374,000.
Good.
The remaining $226,000 will go towards covering personnel to maintain the program, the equipment, the software, and discovery, submitting discovery evidence to the district attorney's office.
Okay.
And that's a dedicated officer, right?
It is.
So you plan on hiring what type of officer you plan on? Patrolman, detective, lieutenant?
We have an administrative officer that exists now. Currently, she's working on getting us compliant with incident-based reporting, which is a requirement in New York State. It came out about 6 years ago. We've been moving in that direction.
What were we moving 6 years ago? What were we doing?
We're moving towards transitioning from uniform crime reporting to incident-based reporting.
Okay. So you're going to make her in charge of the body cameras? Is that your plan?
She's going to be assisting the administrative sergeant with processing the evidence and submitting it to the DA's office.
Okay, so when a patrolman comes off the street, what are they going to do with their camera?
They'll dock the camera. That'll automatically transfer the information to the evidence to the cloud.
No, I'm not saying evidence. I apologize. When a cop goes in a car, does he turn his camera on and it stays on during his entire tour, or does he have to turn it on when he has an incident?
Each officer will be issued their own camera. There'll be
Good.
a couple extras for the detective bureau, a couple extras for admin. When an officer comes in to work for their shift, they'll undock their camera, attach it to their body armor, go out on the road. There will be the policy, which isn't 100% completed yet, will dictate when the cameras are required to turn on. We purchased, as part of the grant, we purchased signal response from Axon, which is a device that attaches to the officer's holster. Whenever their holster is drawn, taser is drawn, the body camera will automatically turn on. It'll also turn on automatically whenever their emergency lights on their vehicle are activated. Other than that, standard routine calls, when the officer gets out of the car and heads to handle the call for service, they will activate the body camera manually.
Okay. So what policy are you formulating with this?
The body-worn camera policy
Yes.
came originally from Lexipol. We're in the process of looking at some other policies throughout the state, including New York State Police, to assist in just tailoring it to the needs of the town of Fishkill.
So you're not developing your own policies, you're adopting those that have been established out there and customizing for us? Is that what's going on?
That's correct.
Okay.
When do you think you're going to have the cameras? What is acceptable to you that we have them?
If
When will you be upset if you don't have them?
I'm expecting the grant to be approved and the funds transferred before the end of June.
Okay.
It's about an 8 to 12 week wait for the equipment, so we're probably looking at fall before we get the cameras. With this law enforcement technology grant that was just issued in New York State and awarded, $127 million was awarded throughout the state. Part of that is for body-worn cameras. So there are going to be agencies who are going to be purchasing from Axon now, so that is going to slow the process down. That's why we're trying to get into it as soon as possible. Those funds have not been transferred yet from the state to the agencies. So the sooner we can get this pending approval approved and the funds transferred, the sooner we'll be able to commit to Axon, sign the documentation, and have the equipment process started.
Now, regarding the quantity of individual camera equipment and docking, et cetera, that's being purchased, I'm assuming that that quantity that you're purchasing is based on staffing size and, I would assume, anticipated staffing increases in the coming years? Or is it reflective of total department size at the moment?
It's based off where we feel we're supposed to be for the department. Our staffing is short right now, we understand that, but we want to make sure we have enough cameras for all the members as we meet, our full capacity in the police department.
Okay, so if we are able, to address the standing law enforcement employee shortage that we're dealing with, and we were able to fill out the roster of the PD, there would be sufficient equipment for every officer, every uniformed officer who would be requiring them.
That's right. We're trying to eliminate any potential financial surprises.
Great.
How long is this grant for?
5 years.
And are you required to take, so the grant is allocated systematically throughout the 5 years, the dollars, or?
We're going to purchase everything up front, so it'll be a one-time purchase, that
Right.
contract, which will cover the contract for the next 5 years.
And when the 5 years is over, what expires other than, that period? Does this software expire? Does the equipment need to be replaced? And how, are we the town needing to then go into upgrade mode? And I'm just curious how that's going to work.
So all of the equipment will be owned by the town of Fishkill.
Yeah.
So, it phases out periodically, but that, because of the contract that we'll be signed into, within that 5-year period, let's just say 2 years from now, Axon comes out with a new camera, we automatically get that upgrade.
Oh.
So when the contract expires in 5 years from now, we may have just gotten new cameras. Now, they'll be owned by the town, so there will be no need to upgrade the cameras. We'll be looking at, assessing what we purchased and how it works for the agency. And I would say best reevaluating what we have to what our needs will be to make sure that the burden of cost for the town in the future is minimized.
Sure.
I think with the assessment that we've made to this point, I think is pretty accurate portrayal of what we're going to need in the future. So we'll just have to, when that time comes, start looking for grants again is probably the best way to handle that.
Well, we don't have a crystal ball for that, do we?
Right.
Yeah.
I think this question was asked, but is there a life cycle on the body cameras? 5 years, 7 years, 10 years?
It all depends on technology. So they run about 4 or 5 years when they come out with new updates. Right now, the Body Cam 4 is out. That just came out in 2023. So we'll probably be good for 2027 before we start seeing a new upgrade, which is towards the, in the middle of our contract life. So we will see new cameras before the end of this contract.
Is there a period where we lose this grant? Is that a possibility?
No, it's a 5-year grant.
So-
We're going to have it. We're going to have the funds transferred before.
You're confident?
So then what happens is, once the funds are transferred, we'll spend the $374,000 to purchase all the equipment, training software. That money will be gone. The rest will be allocated through the comptroller's office to pay the salary of the officer that has been assigned to handle discovery. That's really about it. The money is good for 5 years, and we will expend, most if not all of that $600,000 to cover the equipment and and personnel.
So you're saying end of June, you expecting it by August at the latest?
I'm expecting, when she comes back in June 17th, I'm expecting her within a week to 2 weeks to approve the funds and have the transfer completed.
Can you let the board know when that happens?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chief. LT?
Good evening, Board. The Chief asked me to give a presentation as to where we stand with accreditation. And what I have written is as of May 31st. To achieve accreditation, the department needs to have policies that meet the standards that are laid out by the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services. They're broken down into 64 sections, and there's a total of 111 standards. There's a 4-step process that we are utilizing to organize and maintain the records moving forward in the accreditation process. First, we had to prepare a folder for each standard. This required printing out the standards as well as a standard compliance report form, affixing them inside of a folder, and labeling them and having a file ready. It was tedious and it took time. And in December 2023,
LT, is this the 120 out of the 160? Is that what you're referring to?
yes, not every policy is required for accreditation.
So with number 1, we have 120 done out of 160 as of May 31st.
I don't know what date the chief gave you for the 120 out of 160. That's,
May 31st sound right?
I'm sorry.
The folders that we're talking about. You mentioned 120 are done out of 160.
These are two separate things. Accreditation folders are completely separate from policy. 120 department policies of our general orders manual have been released. So what the lieutenant's talking about is accreditation folders. So that's something separate. Accreditation has a different number of standards. There's not a standard for every policy because every agency has a different number of policies. Some may have 50, some may have 200. It all
Okay.
depends on the needs of the municipality.
So we have right now 120, okay, let's go back to the accreditation. How many accreditation folders are done?
111.
111, not 120. So 120 policies, 111 accreditation policies. Is that an accurate term?
Accreditation folders,
Folders.
yes.
So you have 120 regular police policies, 111 accreditation folders.
Correct.
And is that the total number of folders that is required for the accreditation process?
That
No,
is correct.
160. I thought you said it was 160.
That's the policies, not the
So think
folders.
of it like this. Accreditation has standards. The standard has to match 111, there's 111 standards that have to be supported in your policy. So there's not a standard for every policy.
Okay.
All right, so just, LT, just want to clear this up. 120 regular police policies, 111 accreditation folders. Is that accurate?
Yes,
Okay, what number is that 160?
that's how many. 160 is the total number of policies. 120 have been released to the membership.
Okay, so how many out of that 160 need to be accredited? Or 111 is the number?
111 is the number for accreditation.
I don't want to, okay, understand. Okay. So there are 111 accreditation files at the police department?
Correct.
Okay, go to number 2.
Okay. We worked on this through the fall of 2022. In December 2023, DCGS threw us a curveball, and they updated and changed some of the standards, so we had to go back and redo some of the folders. Once the folders were completed, we had to go through the policies that had been released, print out the policies, and put them in the proper folder.
Okay.
As of the 31st, we have 74 of the 111 with the policies in them.
So we went down.
Didn't go down, it's a different step.
120 policies, 111 folders, and 74 are done?
Take the 120 out of this conversation.
Don't even talk about it, okay?
That's just confusing matters, that's
Okay.
in the policy book, that's not in the.
So we need,
accreditation.
we need 111 completed folders to get accreditation?
Correct.
Okay, and you got 74 done so far?
In step 2, printing the policies, we have 74.
Okay.
Some policies have not been released yet. So if they're not released, we can't print them out and put them in the folder.
So how many have already been printed out in the folder?
74 out of 111.
Okay, so we're short,
Exactly two-thirds.
so 2/3 of the way done, right?
On that step, yes.
Okay.
Lieutenant Kent, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
As you've been working on the accreditation folders, which I came over to visit you, and I wanted to see what's the folder all about, and you showed me the folder. And
I got
it's,
samples.
because this kind of speaks for itself, it's a folder. But as you're working on this and have been working on this, a couple of things that I think I remember, and correct me if I've got it incorrect. New York State has changed these accreditation requirements as you've completed them, and so they've come down with, and then you've had to go back and make some alterations. Do I remember that correctly?
Correct. In December, they, I don't know how they did or what they did, but they reviewed the standards and changed them.
They changed them.
Correct.
So did you have to start from scratch at that point?
No, we just had to go through anything that we noticed was changed.
Okay.
Find the changes, redo the folder.
Understood.
Yeah. So it didn't affect all 111, but it affected enough where we had to take a step back, go through, make sure we were where we need to be.
And did you make connections with outside forces? Did, like, for instance, the Sheriff's Department and maybe East Fishkill, did you tell me that there are accreditation people that might be helping you and reviewing as you're going along just to make sure?
Correct. When we have,
Describe
when we're
it.
a little farther in the process, they're going to come over and look and see what we have.
Before you get finally reviewed by the state to get us accredited, they're going to make sure we're good to go?
Correct.
Okay, that's
And
cool.
when the chief was speaking, he said that we met our certification. The lady that came down to do the certification from DCJS said, when you're ready, we showed her what we had. She says, when you have a little more and you're ready, she'll send us a list of, I forget the title, the surveyors that'll come down from DCJS. We can contact them directly, and they'll come in and do a mock assessment for us. So we know we're ready to go before we have the real one.
That's good. And in the folder, some of these, is it some of them or all of them, the documentation has to be pretty thorough, like, yes, we are complying with this, and here's the documentation, but here's a picture even. You know what you have to have in some cases?
I haven't got to that step, but yes.
Oh, my goodness, I'll be quiet.
Nope, you're fine. So of the 111, we have 74 policies printed out. So those folders went to the next level. Once we have that done, I'm going to show you samples here. Just so you know how.
This is what's in a file at your office. Who has these, where are these files at?
In our records.
You have in your records room, they're numbered 1 through 74?
No, they're numbered by standard.
Okay.
If you look on the top of the first page there, it says Vehicle Pursuits Critical Standard, 43.4.
Okay.
So that's how we label the folder, 43.4. Okay. So once we have the policy in the folder, we have to go through. The top page is from DCJS. That's the standards we have to meet in that one policy. We have to go and highlight piece by piece the standard and how we meet it in our written policy. So when they come down, they can look quickly and find the color code. They don't have to read through everything in black and white.
So what's policy 307 on the upper left, the second page? What's that referring to?
If you turn the first page over, policy 307, vehicle pursuits.
Okay.
And then if you turn the pages, you'll see how they're all color-coded to match the color codes on the front.
Okay.
We have to do that for all 111 folders.
And 74 of these things are done?
No, 74 policies are printed and put in the folder.
Like this?
No, printed black and white and put in folder. Of those 74, 51 as of the 31st were color-coded. I just checked with,
So there's an additional step to get, so we need to get 111, 74 folders are prepared. Is that better answer? Prepared?
prepared to that step.
Is there anything in these folders? Like, this is just the first page?
The first page you have there will be stapled inside the front of the folder.
All these 74 that are done?
No, every folder has that. What's in your
111 have this right here?
Correct, have that.
How do you get to 74 folders with something in it?
We go to the computer, print out policy 307, put it in the folder.
And that'll be a complete policy?
Complete policy, yes.
Okay, so how many of those are done?
74.
Okay, got it.
And of those 74, 51 have been reviewed and color-coded.
Correct.
So there's a step within a step, the color code?
No, well, I call it the next step because
Okay,
that's how we're trying to do it.
Okay.
Once we color code it, we get at least 2 sets of eyes on it because that has to be the most accurate. If we make a mistake there, that's going to tank us when they come to review.
understood.
So not only is it time consuming for one, it's time consuming for the second one.
All right, so right now, I don't want to keep interrupting you. Right now in the records room, there's 74 files with something in it?
Yes.
Okay, continue, please.
Okay. Of those 74, as of the 31st, 51 were color coded.
51 are color coded.
As of today, at least another half dozen were done.
Okay,
Cassie McCall has been working over there since noon, and she's getting caught up on those. Once they're all color-coded, the last step is we have to add proofs of compliance. We have to show that we're following what we say we're following. The proof of compliance it comes in many ways. It could be paper documentation to show that we maintain proper reports. It could be photographs. An easy example of that, we have to prove that we're wearing our vest when we direct traffic. Take a picture of one of our guys wearing a vest, boom, we got proof. If we catch a guy not wearing his vest, we have him send an email, we send him an email, hey, you weren't wearing your vest, we can prove that we're enforcing that you have to wear it. Invoices, we have to prove that we supply bulletproof vests to our officers. When we buy one, we take an invoice, we don't have to put all the invoices in, we have to put a sample in. Right? So we wouldn't put 50 bulletproof vest invoices in, we'd put 1 or 2, and then.
That suffices.
Right.
Got it.
If they say, well, we want to see more, then we'd call over to Sharon and Olympia, say, hey, we need a couple more. But, just enough to prove that we're doing it, and if they ask, we got to be ready for more. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of the things we're not going to experience during the year. If we don't experience it, then the chief writes a memo to the file that says, we had no incidents under this policy this year, and that'll cover it. We have 11 of those complete, and today we completed 1 more, so we're up to 12 folders complete, ready to go. Right.
This is where I get, is that the 51 or an additional 12 on top of the 51?
51 are color-coded.
Okay.
12, we've now put proofs in there to show
So
that
to
we're
get to the
following.
accreditation process, we're at 12 and we got to get to 111. The rest of them have to be like the first 12 are done.
Correct.
So 12 folders are complete.
Correct.
Okay, understood. All right.
So,
I understand.
I'm just going to step in for 1 minute. This is a really involved process, and the way the lieutenant is laying it out is correctly.
Yep.
There's major steps. It's like building a house. You have to build the foundation, right? And then you have to do the framing before you can do the siding and the windows and so forth. This is exactly the same way. There's major steps that we have to complete before we can move on. Proofs of compliance is the last. When you talk about standards, these are standards that are written by DCJS. And then our policy, which doesn't line up exactly, has to be interpreted, and the two have to be married together to come up with meeting the standard. And then the proofs of compliance, like the lieutenant explained, prove that we're doing what the standard requires. When that's complete, then we're done.
You guys have any questions?
Certainly sounds involved, but it's been now explained as a sort of logical progression.
Correct. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I met with Mr. Foreman and Mr. Rye.
What was the meeting about?
They wanted to see how we were doing accreditation and what the process is.
Did you take them into the evidence room, the property room?
No.
No, only, you mean the records room where the files are?
The record, where the stuff is? You took them into that room?
No.
I did not, only because that would be too small for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
We have it on a wheeled cart, and we move the file box into the community conference room.
Okay.
I invite yourself and Greg to come on over. I can show you everything we're doing. It's kind of hard to explain in 20 minutes here, but if I lay it out and I show you what we're doing, you can get a better understanding.
Well, Lieutenant, I'm going to be coming to see you next week on an unrelated matter. Perhaps we can combine the two and I can get an overview as well. I think that would be beneficial.
Monday afternoon?
Sure, works for me.
After 1 o'clock, come over, we can do both.
Excellent.
I'll show you everything we have laid out and what we're doing.
Great.
Yeah.
I'll just send you an email and we can lock in a time.
Sounds
I
good.
mean, I saw.
Thanks.
The folder.
So Greg,
Like,
Yeah.
let's do
the
a
color
count.
coded.
Yeah,
You see
yeah,
it?
Honestly, I didn't see them all, I saw a few.
Okay. Greg will do a count.
Yeah.
Greg will do a
Just
count when he sees you.
See how it's like, step 1, step 2, step 3,
Well,
et cetera.
what I want to see
for all
is
these
the
folders.
12, Greg, I want to see the 12 or whatever completed,
Mhm.
the 51 that are color coded, whatever the updated number is, and the ones with the folders.
Right, because you've said that there's now been
1, 2,
additional work that's been done on these, so we can update the count.
So there are 4
Correct.
steps.
Great.
So the 4 steps are pretty simple here. Okay.
Print and put in the folder, color code, and then after that, the last is the proof of compliance.
Compliance.
Correct.
So when do you think you're going to have this done?
We should be ready by late fall, early winter. You said in your presentation that departments get this done in 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there have been,
Mm-hmm.
when they have full-time officers assigned full-time to do that.
Gentlemen, we're going good here. You're giving out good information. We're getting along. I just want to leave it at that.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I'm just saying it's going to take us longer.
No, the explanation is beneficial.
I'm
Yes, I
not
appreciate it.
trying to throw a dig at anybody. I'm just saying, they do it full-time. I was full-time trying to do it in Newburgh before I left. And we were in it over 18 months.
I appreciate that.
What I'm saying is, 18 months, full-time people, it's going to take different, in our
Lieutenant,
circumstances with
We
part-timers.
operate a 24/7 full-time agency. We have the operations of a full-time agency.
Correct.
And I don't want to get into it, so.
Yeah, no. That's not where I was going whatsoever.
Okay.
But
It's
it
just-
is one of the reasons why we've talked about perhaps hiring an additional person to help you with the process, because of how involved it is and the fact that you are limited in terms of the amount of time that you can dedicate to it.
In the fall, the chief assigned Police Assistant Cassie McCall as my helper, my assistant. We didn't give her a proper title on
Is she
that.
a police officer?
No, police assistant.
She's a police assistant.
But the two of you are spearheading this project.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So she sends us an updated spreadsheet every week with what she's done, and she was there today. I'm like, all right, quickly, just give me any updates. She said, I got about a half a dozen of these, and we got this one more folder.
So how about those 4 things? You give us a bi-weekly update yourself, the board members. Can you do that?
I will not, I will give it to the chief.
Give it to the chief.
Right.
Okay, so every 2 weeks, chief? An accreditation update?
I can do it every week when I submit the chief's report.
And just basically those
Great.
same numbers?
Yeah.
12, 51, 74, 11, simple as that. Any other questions, gentlemen?
No, I got one more thing to review. If you guys don't mind, it's that other project of the app that we're talking
Yeah,
about
sure.
for security. Just to give a tiny update on that.
Any more questions on accreditation?
You good?
No, I'm satisfied for now. We can, discuss more when I come to see, and if there's any, additional questions that sort of come up after that, we can address them with the chief with his weekly reports and just make sure that we're all on the same page.
Sounds good.
Great.
I've been working the last couple of weeks with Councilman Rye. He wants to utilize a new computer-based program called Frontline PSS.
Remember we got this approved at the budget last year?
It's a 5 grand?
No,
Two?
no. It was $1,000 we dedicated to it. Did we spend 1,000 or 500?
500.
So we're way under budget.
It's a computer-based program that can be utilized by the public to inform the police of non-emergency events that do not require immediate response. Reporting options modules are included in it. are overnight parking, vacation watch, condition reporting, citizen reporting, bike management, pet management, key holders, and at-risk residents. So the vacation watch would be, Mr. Albert, you're going to go on vacation this week. You can go online, put in all your information, and it'll send an email to the right people in the police department, so your house is checked while you're gone. Instead of calling and the dispatcher having to sit and type that all out, it frees up the dispatcher, and we still get the information where it needs to go. Right.
Now we have to put in a caveat there in reading this documentation, and obviously the demands of our police force. You know, no one's going to come by every day while they're gone, but they're going to come by, you know, when it's available, when there's somebody on shift, et cetera, et cetera. At least it's going to be in the system, and if they will come by. It's not going to be on a daily basis like somebody privately hired.
As time allows,
Yeah.
officers would be assigned to go out and do one of those functions.
Right.
Right. Each of the modules can be customized as to what information is entered and who in the department receives the email notification when an entry is made. Thus, it gets routed to the proper person to handle it, and we created accountability. To launch the initiative, Councilman Ryan and I thought the best way is to release 2 modules for public use, such as Vacation Watch and Key Holders, along with adding a link to the town website for public access.
Which would work with Debbie Colonna on and, you know, discuss all that and make sure it's all, you know, and then do an e-gov, you know, at the proper time to say that this is live. Could you describe the key?
The key holders?
Key holder, yeah.
That would be a newer and existing business can go online and either enter or update their information. What kind of alarms they have, who to contact in an emergency, if there's a break-in at 3 in the morning, how do we get in touch with somebody, what alarm company do they use? All the information that we try to log, we can now have them enter themselves.
Yeah.
And then they can update it as people change in their business.
All for $500 annually,
And
right?
that saves you from having to manually reconcile that with any existing stuff that you've previously logged. It's all sort of kept current that way.
Correct.
Great.
So it's cost saving on staff time as well as infinitely more efficient.
Right. Once the first 2 are found to be easily navigated by both the public and the police staff, getting their notifications, we can add other modules as we progress. The addition of this tool can be valuable to the department in that it will free up phone lines for non-emergency events, as well as information being sent directly to the personnel that need it. I believe if the board agrees to move ahead on this, we can get this accomplished prior to the July board meeting.
Well, I would like to try to get those 2 modules out there.
It's July 3rd. July
Yeah.
3rd is the next town board meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's good.
We can do that.
Yeah,
I like it.
good.
But maybe like some type of a flyer that we can share in our email system?
Yeah, once we get it up, we can do that, and we can
share it.
we can put the link right out on social media, and then people can have it and they can access as they need it.
Very good.
I'd like to see the language on that before it goes out to social media, if you don't mind.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, Mr. Gallo will review it. Yeah, 5 minutes, guys. Anything else with officers?
I'm good.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you, Chief. Thank you for coming.
Chief.
It was informative. Very good. It's good. Next up is privilege of the floor for general town items. So anything about the town of Fishkill, this is your opportunity to speak. Mr. Olkin? Let Mr. Olkin go first. All right, okay.
Who's Mr.
Olkin, that's Mr. Olkin.
Hi, my name is Rich Reisman, Town of Fishkill resident, 35 years. When the LT mentioned he was doing everything on a part-time basis, which is true, I saw you foam at the mouth, and I mean that humorously, because I know you're interested in full-time officers here.
Mr. Reisman, the police department is a 24/7 PD.
Well, let me ask you, I just want to put this out to the town board, which I believe is an important discussion that you guys should have. I'd like to know what the price tag of a full-time officer would be, and that includes not only his salary, his benefit package. Same with a full-time chief, his salary and his benefit package. I think the town has a right to know what that price tag would be.
Sure.
Okay, that's all I really have to say right now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Anybody else? Mr. Olgan?
Good evening.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Supervisor, Town Board. My name is Carl Oken. I live at 68 Mountain View Road here in Fishkill. I'm here tonight representing the Elks Lodge in our community. Again, we're going through our 100th anniversary this year, and we have a couple other activities that are planned. Every year, the Elks organizations across the country, there's 1,800 lodges with 800,000 members across the country, observe Flag Day. And this year, Flag Day is going to be Saturday, this Saturday, the 8th of June at 11 a.m. And everybody's intended to attend, everybody's invited to attend that. It's very educational. I'm sure that people who come will enjoy it. Recently, we've had a change, and that is the Wappingers Elks used to cover half of Fishkill, as well as the Beacon Elks. Fishkill itself didn't have an actual lodge. Well, unfortunately, the Wappingers Lodge has merged with Beacon. I say unfortunately because they weren't able to sustain what their needs were. So now the Beacon Lodge covers Cold Spring and Beacon, Fishkill, East Fishkill, and Wappingers, a huge area. So some of the things that we've done in the past in the community of Fishkill is supplying the third graders with dictionaries at Fishkill Elementary School. We've done that for 5 years. It's over 300 dictionaries we've supplied. Total in existence for Haldane and Beacon and Fishkill and also Brinkerhoff, we've distributed over 5,000 dictionaries in the last 18 years. We've also supplied food and necessities to the Beacon Food Pantry. We've shown support financially with the youth cadet program. And a couple years back when we had the drug awareness program in the town of Fishkill, we were very large contributors to that program also. So getting back into our 100th anniversary, we're going to be having a parade on Main Street in the city of Beacon on Saturday, July 13th. Lineups at 10 o'clock, kickoff is at 11 o'clock. We're looking forward to that. It's something that's very traditional with the Elks in Beacon. It started 100 years ago and has then followed up with 25-year anniversary, 50, 75, and now 100. We're also having a special initiation, which I think is very appropriate. On the exact time, 100 years ago, that the lodge was established, we had an initiation of new members, and we're going to do the same thing this year on the 17th of July. That's a private ceremony, but if anybody was interested in joining our organization, they could reach out, contact me. My phone number is 914-474-1891. We could talk to anybody about joining the Elks, and I'd like to see the town of Fishkill be more part with the Elks, and the Elks are working hard to do that. So if there's any special projects that are coming up that maybe we can help with, right now we're focusing on the food bank, because the food bank has such a large need, as well as the dictionary project. We also do Students of the Month in Wappingers Junior High and Van Wyck Junior High School. So we put out scholarships. Besides the United States government, the Elks offer the second largest scholarship fund in the United States. So we're out there for the community. We're all about community, and if there's something the Elks could possibly do that we can help in the town of Fishkill, please feel free to contact us, and we look forward to it.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah,
I've
no
been
problem.
to many of your Flag Day ceremonies.
I tell you what, if you come to Flag Day there, I promise every person in this room will learn something about our flag. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
What time does that start again?
It starts at 11 o'clock.
11 a.m.
Yeah, 11 o'clock.
And it's this coming Saturday, the
It's
8th.
this coming Saturday at the Beacon Elks Lodge, 900 Wolcott Avenue, Beacon. It's very impressive. Any other questions, or? All right, I'm available.
Well, if you guys have any events or ceremonies, get me like a 8x10 flyer and we'll share it with the community.
Okay,
Through our email
fantastic.
system.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We're trying to get more exposure in the community because of that recent merger with Wappingers. Wappingers had most of the town, so now we're trying to get the word out, and we're trying to be more part of all of the needs of Fishkill as much as we can.
It'd be a pleasure to do it.
And we focus on our veterans, we focus on our youth and our seniors. Those are our big areas. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks,
Olker.
Carl. Thank you.
Hello, Board. Kathleen Bennett-Merrill. I'm resident of Fishkill. I'm just here to bring something that I've noticed to your attention. I'm a big walker in the town. I don't like driving so much, and I live on the east side of Route 52, off of 9. And I use that for walking, running over the last 15 years. And it's always been relatively safe, and I know a lot of other people use it for cycling, biking, running, etc. I've noticed lately, since the Amazon facility in East Fishkill opened, that the amount of trucks going on that road has gone up, and I don't know on what level, but I've just noticed a lot more trucks, and they're huge. They're not the size of the trucks that used to go to ShopRite or Ocean State. They're massive trucks. And
On Route 52 by Merritt Boulevard?
Route 52 over by Allsport, going towards Amazon.
So on Route 9?
No, Route 52.
Route 52 in the village?
In the village, going and then into the town, and then into East Fishkill.
Okay, so like where they
So
are.
like if I'm going from Route 9 to John Jay.
Okay, understood.
And so I think that, when they developed the Amazon facility, one of the things that East Fishkill did was they had really lovely sidewalks put in, which is great because I have kids that go to John Jay. And they also built Patriot, I think it's Patriot Way, as a way for the trucks to get off of 84 and go into the facility. But they don't seem to be using it, and I don't know if it's old GPS or what's going on, but they're all coming from 9 and making the turn onto 52. And as you know, there's that little kind of like, I don't know what the exact term is, it's like a little artery when you're going 9 northbound and you're going then on to 52 eastbound. It's this little thing, and these massive...
A little island.
Yeah, a little island, but they have to make this little turn with this big truck, and then you have all the cars lined up on Route 52 to go across 9, and they're all having to back up because the truck can't do the turn. So I don't know if there's a way to speak to either East Fishkill or Amazon, but also while running along these roads or walking along these roads, these massive trucks, and of course they're heavy because they have a full payload in them. So that's just, there's a danger aspect, but also, I think that our roads are being damaged, and there's safety of residents, not only me walking, but also everybody having to back up on 52 in order for this massive, truck to make the turn.
You're absolutely right. We have a problem with Merritt Boulevard right by Walmart. That road is horrible.
Yeah,
And that's from the trucks going to the Gap. The problem is in the village of Fishkill, and it's like a lot of money to fix it, and they don't have the money to fix it, while the Gap is damaging it. The trucks.
Right, exactly. So when they open now the Frito-Lay facility, which is under construction.
East Fishkill.
And there's another auto, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, like some auto part thing for one of the car makers is also being built there. There's going to be a lot more trucks. So if there's some way that East Fishkill, Amazon, etc., but it's our town's problem right now, not theirs, with these big trucks, they can more direct those trucks towards Patriot Boulevard Way, whatever it is that is supposed to facilitate these trucks.
Take 84 to Limestone Road.
It's shorter this way.
It's shorter that way.
Is it?
Yeah. It's more efficient for them to get off at Limekiln because it
Yeah, but they're not
pulls them
being
out not far.
directed to do so, so.
That would be a good idea. If you can bring it up, that would be good.
Just bring out a connection in those places.
Lime kiln, because I agree with you, it's horrible.
Yeah, and they're massive trucks.
I
They're
know.
just
I know.
gigantic. So just my observation, and I wanted to bring it to your
That's
attention.
good.
No,
Good.
we appreciate that.
Thank you.
It is a significant issue.
Anybody else? Ann?
Good evening. My name is Jamie Kay. I'm here tonight from DaVita, which is a large dialysis provider across the country serving patients with end-stage renal disease. This past August, so August of 2023, we made the difficult decision to temporarily close our DaVita Mid-Hudson Dialysis Center. Similar to many other industries, we continue to face persistent challenging staffing circumstances, leading us to make this decision. In mid-August, we notified our physician partners, our care team, and our patients of our closure. At that time, our care team identified alternative treatment options for our patients and worked closely with each individual patient and their nephrologist to select their preferred treatment option. We continued to treat patients at Mid-Hudson until we were able to facilitate and complete the transfer for each patient. That process concluded in mid-September, again, 2023. Given ongoing hiring challenges and the desire to ensure continuity of care for our patients, we made the decision to permanently close our Mid-Hudson facility and allow patients to continue to treat in their new dialysis centers. Recognizing the impact this decision has on the community, I wanted to share that information with you today. We'll be here through the end of the meeting. If anyone has any questions, we'll be happy to hear them at that time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could you just state once again exactly where your location was prior to your closure?
Yeah.
Main Street, right in the Ghost Gym
The CVS Plaza. Oh, that was what I thought, but I wasn't certain, and I didn't want to assume. Thank you.
Are you going anywhere else, or is this closed forever?
It's a permanent closure at this point, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? Ms. LaGoy?
Thank you. My name is Ann LaGoy. I am here tonight as a volunteer of Keep Fishkill Beautiful. Although I am not a Village of Fishkill resident, like most other Fishkill stakeholders, I am very concerned about the direction the village is heading. On June 18th, village residents will have an opportunity to vote for change. There is an election for 2 open trustees positions. During our community engagement to oppose the soon-to-break-ground Jackson and Maine project, which will consist of 56 apartment buildings, Keep Fishkill Beautiful volunteers were shocked but not surprised by the village officials' decisions and the lack of transparency during the consideration process. There are 1,454 registered voters in the village. On average, 50 of them come out to vote. Village residents, your surrounding community is relying on you to get to the polling station, which is Village Hall, and cast your vote for change. Navigating what candidates stand for, which ideas, can take more time than many of us have. This Monday night, June 10th at 7 p.m., Keep Fishkill Beautiful will host another Zoom call to discuss the upcoming village elections, to answer questions, and to detail our endorsement. Please reach out to Keep Fishkill Beautiful if you'd like more information at keepfishkillbeautiful.com. Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Ruth Anderson, and I'm a resident of Glenham. And I just want to say to you, I enjoyed the history, and it's a wonderful segue into what I would like to say. My family has been in this area since the late 40s. My family is from Florida and Alabama. My grandmother was a sharecropper in Alabama, along with her children, which included my father. They moved to Florida, and they started migrating from Florida to Fishkill, Blodgett Farms. And for those of you who do not know, that was Blodgett Farms, and there were plants and all kinds of vegetation to pick there. and my parents would come back and forth every year and work there way before Walmart and all of that area. And as a baby, I was on that property in one of the nursing facilities there, which is still there at this time, but it's a home now. And I said all of that to say how meaningful these past 3-4 weeks have been to not only my family, but to the residents in Glenham, and that's regarding the hometown heroes. So one other point I want to make. My father was in World War II, and I was so delighted to see his picture up there tonight. But he, along with all of the blacks at that time, now we call ourselves African Americans, only 2 blacks received benefits from the GI Bill. Only 2, not 2%, but only 2. But with that in mind, my grandmother being a former sharecropper, she was able to purchase the property that we live on now in 1954. Keeping that in mind, my father served in the military. He was proud to serve in the military. He spoke a little German because that's where he was stationed. And as a family, Mr. Perone, we are so honored and we are so thankful. About 3 weeks ago, I left home really early because I had a project that I was working on. It was like 5:30 in the morning. And I didn't finish that project until about 10:15. And as I started on the old Glenham Road from Fishkill, I began seeing the hometown heroes signs, banners rather. I tell you, I was filled with emotion. I'm a little emotional right now. And as I drove down, I saw a lot of people because I've been here all of my life, and I'm seeing their names and their pictures. And as I got closer to my home, I saw the pictures of our neighbor, and just before I was going to turn in, Mr. Perone, there was my dad's picture of World War II. He could have been angry, he could have been disappointed along with many African Americans. And I say this because my parents raised me to respect all people. I've been in a diverse community all of my life. I've worked at Texaco Research Center for 27 and a half years. I grew up in this area, and Mr. Perone, what you did along with your staff for Glenham, you really put it on the map. It's the talk of the town. Family members are just stopping and taking pictures. And I know when I worked at Texaco, I was an events coordinator. So I know the time, the effort, the detail that you put in it, and also the request that was made of you. Some you could address and some you could not. But every time I drive into my road, my dad is looking at me. When I'm driving out, he's looking at me because that's just the way his eyes are. And I came tonight just to say thank you to you and your staff. And thank you for being a gentleman. Thank you for being a representative of this board, always showing kindness and hospitality and honor. It is a testament for who you are as a person, and I applaud you. A million thanks.
Louise Daniele, legal resident of Fishkill for over 30 years. I reached out to the supervisor's office but didn't get a response about the email that went out to residents from the supervisor's office on May 22nd, stating, quote, The Fishkill Veterans Committee will be hosting a Memorial Day event at 10 a.m. at the Town of Fishkill War Memorial. Please join us to honor those who have served and continue to serve our nation. I was reminded by my other half, Bob, who is a Vietnam veteran wounded in action, that Memorial Day is often confused with Veterans Day. He was looking for it to be clarified, but since it wasn't, I just wanted to clarify it here in public. Memorial Day is to remember those service members who lost their lives while serving our country, like the Marine in his squad, Malvin Nasworthy, who died in action by a grenade, the same grenade that wounded Bob. Bob carried his squad member's body out of the jungle back to base camp on his shoulders. And also to Councilmember Rye's father, Blair Rye, who was an Air Force pilot who was shot down during Vietnam in 1966 and lost his life. All veterans who sacrificed their lives for our freedom hold a special place in my heart, especially for myself, those that were killed during Vietnam. Veterans Day, on the other hand, is to thank those who serve or have served. I just wanted that to be clarified since it wasn't clarified through the eGov. I'm happy to hear that Virgil will follow up on my suggestion that I gave a few years ago that the town becomes a, quote, Purple Heart town. I think, however, he needs to properly establish the Veterans Committee per the rules that the prior board put in place first. I hope he encourages Fishkill resident veterans to be a part of a group and not just a select few on a committee. It is nice that a veteran committee was established, but it should be remembered that the prior board that I was on with Supervisor Albra has always honored the veterans, unlike the supervisor before him. I also want to thank Carmine, our highway superintendent, and especially Angel, our buildings and ground employee, who rode around with me for the last 2 days last year when we took the Hometown Hero banners down. And he learned how to store them and keep them in order. He did a great job this year with John Testament at his side and Lee's Trees Brothers to help put up the new banners. It is a great sense of town pride, as our other resident just expressed very nicely, to see the faces of our hometown heroes as we drive throughout our town. I'm happy that the program has continued this year and hope it does next year as well and the following year. I also wanted to mention that although it is a nice gesture to give the finance department employees bonuses, it shows how our town board continues to not be fair when it comes to salaries and bonuses. I had to fight to get a few certain employees raises that they deserved when I was on the board. Those same people continue to do an excellent job. Some even do 2 jobs, but are paid for 1. I don't see them getting bonuses. I'm happy to see the continued updates at Doug Phillips Park that started with the playground and has moved on to the blacktop and pickleball courts and soon to be the basketball court. Thank you to Carmine and all of his employees in the Buildings and Grounds Highways Department who worked together in the heat to paint the pickleball courts. I saw them as I checked on the progress of it. I don't see them getting a bonus either. In the future, try to remember to look outside the walls of the offices near the supervisor's office and recognize the great job that all of our employees have been doing lately as well, and just to treat everyone fairly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Miss Daniele, just thank you for mentioning my father, by the way. I appreciate that.
Certainly, always.
But, I mean, just in fairness to Virgil, I remember the first meeting for the Veterans Committee was like 3 people, and he's worked diligently. We're up to 18 or 20, and he's trying to expand it more and more and more. So it is gaining numbers.
Well, my point was, before we created it, I believe he created his own committee there, which then we established rules that would be what he had to follow, and he didn't follow them. And I know 2 veterans who actually attended one of the meetings, and they were basically told, we just need you to vote here, you don't really have to come back in the future. So my point is that there's probably veterans out there who would like to be a part of it, and I just don't want them to feel like it's only a certain few who make decisions. And as I hear him talk to the board, he should also be reminded that it's suggested, not them telling you what will be done, because that sounded like the tone that he was giving the board last time he spoke. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Anybody else like to speak? Sir?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm back.
Hey.
I'm with Tails of Wagon, and we did a donation drive, collection drive out front between December and early January. We had a pretty good turnout, despite it being winter, and I was hoping that we could do it again. I was also wondering if we could maybe take like a Saturday morning, I could get a couple hours and set up a table, possibly in front of the police station or the community center, or even here. And, see if we can get more donations that way. Also, we kind of need you to put it on the website or some of your social media, to help push it. I did put it on Facebook, Instagram. I got a lot of response from people like, where can we drop them off? It was like Fishkill Town Hall. It was like, yay, everybody was happy. So we did pretty good. So I'm back to see if we can do it again.
Thoughts?
Remind me what you collected. I'm sorry, there've been a
It's
bunch of
okay. It's Tails a Wagon. We collect, we pick up donatable goods and we bring them to the local animal rescues and shelters.
Oh, right, yeah.
We added 2 more since last time because we've gotten a little bit busier.
Yeah.
It's been doing pretty good,
And
actually.
you did that here, there was,
We had a box out in the breezeway.
Yeah.
I've got like 30 boxes spread out between Beacon and.
you wanted to try to do that for a period of time or one day?
Yeah, well, we did it for like a month. I mean, I'm open for as long as you guys can do it because, people
I don't know, put a box in.
have their stuff.
Well, he says he might want to do something.
Well, I was thinking about doing maybe taking a couple, well, besides doing the box, we talked briefly, maybe I could get like 2-3 hours and set up a table so people could come and actually, talk to me and get some stuff.
Well, we always do that kind of thing in the circle in front of the police so people could just do a drive
Sure,
around,
that'd be
drive
great.
through, drop it off and stay in their car.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, I don't.
Okay with it?
Yeah.
John?
Certainly.
This is limited to local
Yep.
shelters?
We work between Poughkeepsie and Beacon. There's like CARE, HVARs, Stray Help, Safe Haven, Care of DC.
ARF?
ARF. We added Crate Escape and Terror, which is actually just a new to
A
place.
portion of them are local, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, they're all local. We just, split up because everybody needs something different. Some places are only cats, some are cats and dogs, some got wild animals. So, we take what we get and we see who needs what and we bring it around.
Okay. Well, the board seems okay with it, so
Cool.
get a hold of me later.
Okay.
First, let's pick a day, and
Sure.
then we'll do a flyer, and then we'll share it with the citizens.
Okay, now could we do it like a month again, or?
Well, what
the
do you want to
box.
do? You want to do it just a box, or you
What?
want to do the circle in front of the PD? Which one you want
I'm
to
up for both.
do? Okay, we'll talk about
Well,
that.
if you were to set it up where you're having this event in front of, the PD, people can come by and then for like a month afterwards, if you couldn't make the event,
Yeah.
come by town hall, drop it in the box.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That's really easy from
Okay.
getting public information out that
Yeah, that'd be great, because, I got some stuff too we hand out. We got a
Okay.
little, the fire department decals, like in case of emergency, I've got stickers for that. It says how many pets you got. So, I got some stuff to hand out. It's not just take. So, that'll give them out. And, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good, considering it was winter and it was Christmas and, it was 3 other boxes. Actually, Brinkerhoff just did a donation for the month of May. It was incredible. The little kids over there kicked ass. They did better than some of these other places. So,
Very good.
Yeah, so we're growing. We're helping more. So
Thank you.
that'd be awesome. Okay.
All right.
So,
Wait
we-
to me.
Okay. Whenever you want.
Okay. Thanks for coming. Anybody else like to speak? All right. Isn't this a wonderful community?
Yes.
All right. Liaison member reports. Let's start with you, Brian.
Okay. Alrighty. Thanks. Got quite a few things here. You guys, I guess I'll wait until we get to the film permit portion. But, the last meeting, we talked about my reviewing and getting into seeing if we can find a grant writer, and I've got quite a number that have responded at this particular point. What I like about a couple of them is they've issued me a lot of questions, which I'll be coming to you all for to help get some information. But I think that there's some possibilities here. Also,
So, Brian, I don't want to, I'm sorry, you go first.
Just to clarify, a grant writer in general or grant writer for affordable housing?
affordable housing.
Okay.
So let's not move on anything until we hire a controller. That's the only thing I asked for.
Understood. This is going to take a while to research and for us to make a decision.
Okay.
As a board.
Sounds good.
Of course, I think several of us here attended the senior picnic today. I love going as a senior and a board member. So that was a lot of fun. It's well done. I saw Sue Serino there, and I began speaking with her about grant writing and affordable housing, and she said, we're going to set an appointment and talk. She said, I got a grant writer for the county, so that might, to help communities. So maybe that's an avenue as well. So we'll do a little researching there. As you know, I've been working on the, you and I, when we almost simultaneously came up with the Bailey Sword project for the 250th. You know, over the course of time, there have been a number of meetings, delays, and you know why. I won't go into it. But I've had a couple of meetings, as I've informed you, with different organizations who are considering some form of involvement and support, and I'll be reporting on that as we go forward, which would be great. Hopefully some financial relief to taxpayers as well. I say hopefully. But I did have a conversation again with Melissa Wood, the landscape architect who's volunteered her services, and she's excited to meet with Verplank Garden Club at an appropriate time, and they're excited to meet with her about taking a look at that whole area out there to make it a lot more eye appealing, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to throw this in. There are a few more items I'm going to say, but tomorrow the nation and the world is celebrating the 80th year of the D-Day invasion, and it's very, very, very monumental, and I hope that everybody just commemorates it and puts out a flag. I did the Rotary Day of Wellness at Gearing. Very proud of our Rotary Club. I did go to the village block party. I mean, that's just always fun. I did attend, sadly, Mike Burke's wake, and Denny Burke's dad, and he worked at Highway for 30 years. He was a volunteer at Protection Engine 1. He's a former chief at Slater Chemical and a life member, and so my hat's off to that family. My heart goes out as well. I did attend the Blodgett. Julie had a coffee with cops, and I actually combined that with a meeting I had set up at the same time at another location with CAPE. If you remember, CAPE used to be in the basement down here. Their Community Prevention Coalition, I just ran into these people accidentally. We started talking. They've gotten a lot of money from the court case, you know, for the drug abuses by drug companies, and they've got a lot of programs to help the community, and it's just an ongoing scourge, as we know. So they're going to come in July and do a presentation on their services. Obviously, we attended the Memorial Day celebration out here. It was very well done. Yes, our Veterans Committee was in charge, and my hat's off to them, and it was really one of the best services we've had, I feel. And last but not least, again, to capitalize on the Hometown Heroes banner, our citizen here noted, it was a wonderful event. It was a great event. Yes, my hat's off to the Veterans Committee. They got really involved with the gentleman at the end down here who has been highlighted this evening. Joe, you've did a great job. Obviously, hats off to Highway and their great work. And, you know, we all were honored to host it and attend. And that's all I've got. John?
Saturday, May 18th, I stopped by the Fishkill Rotary Wellness event at Gearing Park, followed by attending another successful block party in the village. Sunday, the 19th of May, attended the breakfast at St. Mary's School, followed by attending the service for Fishkill resident and local volunteer firefighter Michael Burke. Tuesday, May 21st, I voted in the annual school budget. Wednesday, May 22nd, I attended the Coffee with a Cop event. Monday, May 27th, attended the Memorial Day ceremonies in the town and at the Fishkill Rural Cemetery. Wednesday, May 29th, I attended the special board meeting honoring our hometown heroes, which I have received nothing but positive comments from the residents in Fishkill. Thursday, May 30th, participated in an interview for our vacant town controller position, and today attended the annual senior lunch at Gearing Park, Thank you to Dutchess County Office for the Aging for another successful event for our seniors.
Close to 400 people there today.
That's a
Amazing.
lot.
400 people at this thing today. 400 Fishkill seniors in Gearin Park, and they love the paving. So they love the paving.
Now we just have to get handicap spots.
You're on that.
That's good.
You-
I like that.
Thank you. I don't wish to rehash everything that was said. Just want to give a big shout out to Dutchess County Office for the Aging for the fantastic picnic that was held today. My mom sent me a video. Seems to have been a really great event for everyone, as it is every year without fail. And again, just to reiterate, my thanks to the Fishkill Veterans Committee, to our Town Highway Department, to our PD, to the gentleman to my right, Mr. Joe Carone, for the work that was done to continue the Hometown Hero Project, which I was so happy to help former Councilmember Daniele launch last year, to see it growing and including more Fishkill veterans, seeing it blossoming into this truly town-wide initiative that it is. It's incredibly rewarding and fulfilling. So that does mean a lot. I do just want to offer a special tip of the hat to Dutchess County Sheriff's Office, Mike Riley, who came to our Memorial Day ceremony at the War Memorial. He was our speaker who offered comments, and they were very well received. So thank you, Riley, for coming to that. That was great. Just want to offer a couple of quick updates from the state. This is the last week of the legislative session in Albany. So I have not spoken to my boss because she has had nothing but meetings pretty much all week, because any legislative item that has not yet gone through the Senate is now before it, and people are calling and wanting meetings and trying to get things through. A couple of notable things which have happened is that Governor Hochul has put a stop to an adopted policy for congestion pricing for motorists bringing their cars into New York City.
I read that. That's
yes, that
smart.
is very important for people in our area. We have a lot of people in the Hudson Valley who commute to New York City. I'm fortunate, based on the location of my office, I'm able to take the train. That isn't a feasible option for everyone, and while I think we can all agree that there's something that needs to be done regarding the environmental impact of the amount of traffic that we have in New York, congestion pricing and punishing the people who need to get to their jobs is not the way to do it. So thank you, Governor Hochul, for that. I hope I don't get in trouble with my boss for having said that. That's my personal opinion. Professionally, I will say that the State Senate yesterday adopted a package of bills that are designed to target one of the biggest scourges in our modern society, and that is gun violence. So there's some gun violence prevention legislation which has been adopted, which I'm looking forward to Governor Hochul signing in the near future. A lot of this is just really common sense kind of stuff. Most importantly of these that I would highlight is the 10-day waiting period. If you'd like to purchase a gun, you have every right to do so. Wait 10 days. It's as simple as that. That has been placed before the governor for her to consider. I know the Assembly's been working on things as well. We've established, I think, many times here that this is a very pro-Second Amendment town. But we also need to remember that with an individual's rights come also needs for public safety.
Yeah, but that's when you purchase a firearm, you have to go get a permit.
That's right.
You have to file with the sheriff, and the sheriff gives it to a judge. The judge signs the application, gives it back to the sheriff, they mail it back to you. That takes 30 days anyway. So the 10-day thing really doesn't count.
I mean, yeah, because that's concealed carry, which.
Yeah.
That's right. Ozzy and I know about that.
But if you're talking about rifles and shotguns,
this
that would
is
apply.
any firearm purchase in the state of New York, there will be a 10-day mandatory waiting period from the application to purchase to the actual sale being completed and the delivery of the firearm to the purchaser. That is all that I have from New York State at this time. So,
you're done?
I'm done.
Okay. I have nothing. Let's go to discussions. Discussion of Little Red Schoolhouse property. Guys, we really don't know who owns this thing. No one takes ownership. I'd like to start eminent domain and take it. Right to the point.
What are we going to do with it?
We'll figure it out when we get it.
But I mean,
Mr. Gabbard, there's a piece of property on Route 90 by Red Schoolhouse Road.
We've discussed it.
Let's start eminent domain.
If I may. So.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with it.
Somebody owns it. okay? There can't be no owner. Authorize my office to run a last owner search. We'll figure out who has title to it. Maybe by default, it might be an estate, maybe it was taken by the county for taxes, but we'll figure it out. If it is owned by the state, you cannot exercise eminent domain against it.
Okay.
You could approach whoever the owner is and offer to take it off their hands or, pay some appraised value for it or whatever it is. But before you undertake those proceedings, I'd ask that you let us figure out who the owner is, and then we'll advise you on how to proceed. And if the board's interested in proceeding, you can then go about that. But I think that's step one.
You okay with that?
I mean, do that, but I mean, there needs to be a plan, like, if we get it, what do we do with it? So-
It was only, they taught school there for 75 years. I'm just going off the top of my head, so I might not be exactly accurate. The one lady taught grades 1 through 10 or something for 75 years. The place was only like 800 square feet, so it's small. So I like to build a replica and highlight it to accentuate the town of Fishkill and its history.
So-
That's one of my goals, is to promote.
Can we find out who owns it by the
That's
July
what you were
meeting?
saying. No, that's,
Probably.
Oh,
I
really?
can't promise.
so you okay with doing it?
Let's push it off till July.
Well, I mean, let's find out who owns it, and let's take it from there, because I'm not quite
clearly,
sure
if-
that we need to build something, and I don't know what the hell to do with it.
Right, if I may.
Pardon my French.
Clearly, if title was in a recognized owner, we could have title search done and I could tell you by July. But if, as I suspect, title is a mess and it might be somebody's estate, it passed to somebody, or the county took it by tax, it might take us longer than July. I will try to have it on for July, you can put it on for July, but you might have to bump it, because I don't know what the title search is gonna show.
We could always, if we table it to the July meeting.
No,
if you're-
let's not table anything. Let's authorize Mr. Gaba to do a title search first.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody good with that?
Do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Gaba. So let's table this to September. If he's got any information earlier, then we'll move on it. Fair enough?
Great.
Okay, perfect. Yes?
Is it possible that it's owned by the town?
No, it was school district, I believe, district number 3, so we really don't know the, yeah.
My mom's relative was the teacher you're talking about.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
And the founder,
My great-great-grandfather owned all that property
yeah,
on Red Schoolhouse Road. He actually put Red Schoolhouse Road in.
amazing.
You should speak to my mom.
What's amazing is that Tommy Mahash, who lives in Wappingers, came down and cleared the property with somebody else, and the foundation is right there, so it's relatively easy to put something up there. I think this would look real nice on 9D. All right, thank you.
Supervisor, we had sort of looked into this on a preliminary basis a couple of years ago, and the most recent thing that we could find was that sometime in the 1970s or 80s, it belonged to New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, who now vehemently deny ownership.
Yeah, it's weird.
We reached out to them about it, and they said, that is not our parcel.
Same thing with Beacon
So-
School District.
But back in the 70s, Mr. Buckley from Wenham School put a sign there. That sign that said, this is where,
Mhm.
the site of the Little Red Schoolhouse, that was a whole big thing. So we had to have gotten permission from someone.
But we're gonna look into it. It's gonna be it's a hidden gem. All right, next up is discussion of the ward system. I'd like to break the town into 6 districts. My only question for Mr. Gaba is, if we go into a ward system, does that negate the 4-year term?
Oh, no,
So we can have a ward system with a 4-year term.
absolutely.
Thoughts, guys?
I'm not for a ward system at this juncture.
John?
At all.
I want to know more of a compelling reason why we need to have a ward system.
Well, I'd like to prevent a non-for-profit to come into the town of Fishkill, build 1,000 homes, and control the town of Fishkill with just a supervisor and 1 board member, with the entire board. We break up the town into 6 pieces, that'll never happen.
Well,
That's the reason I want to do it.
I think you and I chatted about that offline, and it's something to think about. I don't know about expanding the number of people, should we get to that point, but at this particular juncture, I don't know that it's necessary.
Okay, John?
I'd say I'm not ready to vote on that.
Okay, close that out for me, Madam Clerk. Number 4, discussion of sale of, huh?
What about Greg?
That's 2 right there, you need 3 votes to go forward.
In other words, if the 2 gentlemen to my left there don't have an interest in it, it really doesn't matter what I think.
Or me.
Yeah. People who would support something, you need 3 votes on a board of 4. If you get 2 nays, there's really no utility in continuing the conversation.
That's all. I support it. He supports
I
it.
support it.
So, and plus in the future, when we shift to these even year elections, the probability of one-party rule coming back to Fishkill will be significant, and I believe it'll be going in the opposite direction of these guys' parties. So it would be beneficial to have a balanced town board. But
I will just say for the purpose of public knowledge, my primary reason for supporting it is to ensure geographic diversity on the town board. As it stands right now, all four of us on the town board live west of Route 9. There is a significant portion of the town that lives east of Route 9. There's a significant portion of people who live south of Route 52. None of that is the case for the four of us. Now, while we are very much committed to serving the town as a whole, there are ways by which people who live within certain areas of the town may have more rapid access to information. If our particular social and day-to-day life connections don't give us, a key into a particular issue that might be affecting a particular place in the town, unless it's communicated directly to, to town hall, it isn't necessarily something that we're aware of. So a ward system that would, divide the town geographically and ensuring that people from all corners of Fishkill, whether we're talking about Dutchess Junction or, the area where I live near Round Hill, talking about east of Route 52 in Dutchess Park, etc., all areas of the town being represented by someone on this board, regardless of their political affiliation, will better serve the interests of people living everywhere in the town. That's my personal take on it. I've said that before. It has not affected the opinions of the two gentlemen at the other end of the table. But I look forward to continuing to have the conversation, and hopefully my powers of persuasion will improve.
yeah, and government changes maybe to the 1960s. I think the town board consisted of 3 judges and a town supervisor. I might have that wrong a little bit. And then they changed it to the 4 council-person supervisor. So this is not unusual for changes. John?
So the town of Wappinger has a ward system. The town of Poughkeepsie has a ward system. Town of East Fishkill goes townwide. Town of LaGrange goes townwide. So you get flavors. I've spoken to supervisors and town board members who are in the ward system, and it's not necessarily, the end all, this is what we have to do because we're going to better serve our residents.
Well,
So-
I understand that argument too, but the benefits that the town of Fishkill has that those other municipalities don't have is we have term limits. So in these municipalities, if you're a clever guy or gal, you have, let me tell you something, canvass the town of Fishkill going door to door, it'll take you a solid 4 to 5 months. A ward system would take a candidate maybe a month to do a good job. But the unique thing here is you could only do it twice. So you won't be there for 20 or 30 years of what's happening in these other municipalities on the ward system. Every 8 years, at a minimum, you'll get a new board member, and it'll be a fresh cycle as it goes on. So a ward system with term limits is the way to go, but we closed it out, and we move on.
Well, last thought is that I've also looked into this since you brought it up a while ago, just as a thought here. The towns people that I have talked that are in the ward system don't like it. There seems to be too much fighting going on in between
Turf wars.
The different wards for everything, for funding and just everything else. It does do that. In expanding the number here, I don't know that that's beneficial other than added cost. And to say that we're geographically in one area and other people live across Route 9 and they're not represented. It's townwide. Anyone can run. Anyone can file. If there's an interest, they can run and hit the pavement like we all do and go over there and visit all those people like I do. So it's open up to anyone. We don't need necessarily a ward system to make it democracy work for anybody who wants to run. They can do it now.
Well, I wasn't, to be clear, suggesting that people on the other side of Route 9 are prohibited from running for office. I think that would be a frankly asinine suggestion. But the point being
is that an asinine suggestion? I thought
I'm saying
I thought we were having a conversation.
Brian, I'm saying it would be asinine to suggest that they couldn't run. I did not say they couldn't run.
No, I didn't say that either. I'm not saying you said that. I'm just saying anybody can run anywhere.
Exactly. But without a ward system, when you have simply an at-large, there is no guarantee that the results of any one election or any series of elections will result in geographical diversity of representation throughout the town. That's all.
And what if someone in that board doesn't want to run?
Then a board would appoint that person for another year and then have another election until someone's picked, right, Mr. Galba?
There would be, well, the board would have discretion to appoint someone to the empty seat. You could wait until a special election the next year, but if you wanted to, of course, if there was a majority vote, you would appoint someone to the empty seat.
Okay, like I said, that was dead 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is discussion of sale of town-owned property, 81 Route 82. I missed 3? Oh, I missed Brian's thing. Okay, Brian. Discussion on the film and video production. We ready with that, Mr. Galba?
I believe so. We received a comment from,
Lawrence?
yes, Mr. Laurent.
He's the
Hudson Valley Film Commission, yeah. And he pointed out that a daily news production should not be subject to permitting. Now, as I read the law as it's drafted, a daily news production wouldn't be considered a commercial film production, so it would not be subject to this law. If the board was so inclined, we could revise it to include a specific exception for daily news productions. It's up to you.
What are you talking about, a guy coming with a microphone on the street?
Yeah, Channel 6 News shows up.
Just wave that?
I've never known them to file,
They're
you
not
know, and
going
think
to.
that they have to file. So I thought, when I read that, I thought, okay, that's fine, but news is a constitutional right. They're not going to come to the, you know, and say, can I shoot here? They're going to do it. So.
I don't think it's a problem practically. It's technically, if you wanted to add it in, you could add it in. But
I don't see a need.
You don't see a need to add it in?
I don't.
No, I think that it would be, it's a stretch, I would say, to argue that a news production is some sort of commercial film enterprise.
Well, you got TMZ out there. They could be considered a news organization.
Believe it or not, I think they are considered a news organization.
Well, if you're more comfortable adding in an opt-out provision, we can put it over till next month. I'll add in a non-opt-out
All right, what do you,
exception.
no, I don't want to wait. You good with it the way it is?
I'm good the way it is.
John?
We can always amend it.
That's
Okay.
true, too.
Let's move on it then, Mr. Galba.
Yeah.
Do you have the resolution on for tonight to set the public hearing? You
Set
should
the
be
public
set to
hearing,
go,
yep.
yeah.
Okay. Do we know what day we're going to set the public hearing? Because I think I got that in consent.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm absolutely good with that.
Do we have a date for the public hearing?
I don't know if I filled it in on the resolution or not. I may have left it open to you.
Okay. All right, so we have that in consent as number 7.
As far as the application for, you know, for a company, a production company, I emailed to everybody, so just give comments, send it back, we'll refine
Good
that.
way.
The date is not included on there. There is a blank.
So you have
So
to
we can define it and.
Pick what date you want. I imagined it would be for your
Our July meeting is on the 3rd, so I'm assuming we'll assign that. Will we technically
3rd.
need to amend the resolution to reflect that?
No, you can just fill it in when you say it. I'm the resolution to set a date for, and then you just say what the date is.
Got it.
July 3rd, okay.
Okay.
Very good. All right, next up, discussion of sale of town-owned property, 81 Route 82. So speaking with the highway superintendent, we'd like to sell this property owned by the town and use the proceeds to fix the road and the drainage for Shepherd Park. Are you guys okay with it, or?
So I was with Carmine last night. We spoke about this resolution, or the discussion anyway. He said he will be sending all the town, and the supervisor and the town board members, an email about what he would suggest we do. One is called a lot realignment, so we wouldn't be actually selling the entire property out. He wants to keep part of it for drainage or something to keep it with the parks, and then sell the other part,
So,
with the building up.
so, Mr. Galba, can we do the resolution contingent on the lot line and subdivision?
No, I'm afraid not. The way the resolution has been drafted, it's going to send the proposed sale to mandatory referendum. There are notices that have to go out with that. If you
There's not enough time.
I think you could still get it on the ballot in November if you do it in July.
So, can we subdivide the lot in a month?
I have to look into it further, Ozzy, but my understanding is that the town board, the town, is not subject to land development regulations. If you want to subdivide a lot, you just file with the county a notice that this is the new lot line for this property. Further, in terms of a notice to sell only a portion of it, even if there are further steps to go through, the notice can go out now. It won't be on the ballot until November. Surely you can complete whatever subdivision there needs to be to sell only a portion of it between now and then.
So you don't think this is a big deal?
No, I do not.
All right, so we get this on the ballot in November, and in between now and November, we subdivide the lot?
Yes.
All right, so
But
can you
you
work?
can't introduce this resolution tonight if you want to subdivide it, because the resolution is for selling the entire lot.
Okay, can you work with Mr. Joel Pete, our building inspector, to do this?
I can. The
Or do
issue-
you need him, or you don't need him?
I need somebody to tell me what the description will be of the piece of property you want to sell.
Gotcha.
So I don't know exactly how we're going to work that out, but there's got to be some way. I mean, God forbid, worst case scenario, you'd have to bring in a surveyor. But I'm thinking it won't get to that point.
Joe, tomorrow with Joe and Carmine. Okay, so we'll table this until July 3rd.
I want
Cooper?
to throw something out there.
Yeah.
Because this, as we discussed just on the cuff, this could be a great deal of money potentially.
Yeah, the house is just sitting there,
Yeah.
just deteriorating.
Right. Well, I would like to, for us, because I know that we can direct I know we can direct as a board how the funds are to be used. I'd like 10% of it to go towards offsetting costs for the sword project.
Can we do something like that?
Well, what happens when you sell town property? And this, again, you won't get the money until after this passes that election, assuming that it passes, is the money comes into general fund. When the money comes into general fund, you can allocate it any way you want to allocate it. So it's not a decision you need to make now, whether it's for the roads or it's for the sword or whatever it
I
is.
just want to throw it out there.
No, if you want to, when we do the budget this year where it's 100,000 and you want to say 10%, 10,000 will come out of this, I can support that.
Yeah.
John? Too much thinking? It's going to come from the same thing.
Yeah. But this is going to be sold. This is not.
Okay.
It offsets costs.
So I'll hook up you with Carmine and Joel to subdivide this lot and move forward. Thank you, sir. All right, discussion of resolution to approve a request for Dutchess Park sewer out of tenant at 216 Windsor. Their septic is messed up. They like to hook into the town.
He sent a letter.
Yeah, he sent the letter. You guys okay with that?
I mean, yeah, it's not costing us anything, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
We'll
do
get
it.
another tenant.
Yeah.
Number 6, discussion of modification of the adopted general fund for the police grant review. We got some body vest, bulletproof vest money. Everybody okay with that?
Good.
Yes.
Number 7, discussion of resolution to hire Vincent in the Buildings and Grounds Department. He was here earlier. We're okay with that?
Good.
8, discussion of modification of the rec fund adopted for pickleball. Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
Number 9, a discussion of modification to the 2024 General A Fund adopted budget to purchase the War Memorial plaque. That's the Sidney Schofield plaque. Everybody good with that?
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be cool. Number 10, discussion of take-home vehicle for the police chief. Discussion?
Listen, here's the thing about that. I don't really know, I can speculate why this came up. But to think that our police chief now, a professional, needs a resolution to say, don't drive it to another town, that would also apply to a brand-new chief that, oh, by the way, we have this resolution, just don't ever take the car somewhere else. I think they're professional enough, and they know this.
Don't
we have a vehicle policy now?
We
in place?
have an unusual policy where our police chief is now working in another jurisdiction effective June 1st.
Right.
And I just want to clarify it, because if we don't pass it, then he's going to have the ability to take it. That's
He's
just
not
the
gonna
bottom.
take it.
Well, then.
He's not
it is
going to
what-
take it.
Wouldn't he be acting out of policy, the policy that's already in place?
According to
If
who?
we don't have a policy.
It's just assuming, I think he wrote an email and has clarified, as a professional, he's not going to take it to another town. I just don't see the point of it. I mean, because I believe he's-
Ronald Reagan had the best, trust and
So many
verify.
politicians have said, I am not a crook, and yet, look
How
at
does that
American
apply to
history.
our chief?
Trust but verify. This is the way to do it.
There you go.
All right, we'll just vote, bless you, we'll vote on the resolution.
No, I'll just wing it.
Discussion of resolution to hire summer recreation staff. Everybody okay with that?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, so the
And
next one.
congratulations to those two
They're pretty good, right?
young men who came up today, and I know there's more as well.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a teenager, if I wanted to make money in the summertime, I just grabbed a lawnmower and cut people's lawns. But these young people are getting involved. They're taking leadership positions. They should be applauded for that. So,
Thank you.
best of luck to them all.
All right, next up, privilege of the floor for agenda items only. Anything that was on the agenda you can speak about. Councilwoman?
Louise Daniele, legal resident, over 30 years. About the Little Red Schoolhouse property, I spent a lot of time and research, and I went to the county clerk's office, and Mr. Gaba is correct. It is a mess. So I don't really feel the need for taxpayer dollars to be spent on a search for it when we don't even know how much the search costs. And if the three of you out of the four are not in agreement as to actually building something, then I don't think it should be done. That's my opinion on that. It doesn't sound like everybody's into building a replica, which would cost a lot of money, which I don't know where that money would come from either.
Me either.
Yeah, so speak to the person next to you, please. What was the other thing? Oh, about the person who wanted to go into the sewer district. I read in his letter that he said he has to go through his neighbor's backyard. So do we need an easement for that if he's going?
He needs an easement for that.
So what in the future if the town had to go and fix something and he's part of the sewer district now and
It
the
would be a
people sold the
lateral,
house?
it would be his job, not the town's.
Whose job?
The property owner.
Yeah, so if the guy sells the house next door and now the sewer line is through the other person's yard, don't we need to get it?
Not if it's a lateral. The lateral would be, an easement would go to the property owner who wants to get into the district. The property owner would then run his lateral through the easement through his neighbor's backyard to connect to the town's main. If there's a problem with that lateral, the property owner has to take care of it, not the town.
Okay, so I'm just asking that question to maybe make sure that the property owner is aware of that, because,
I think we asked that last time. I don't remember. Yeah, I believe we did.
He's not going to be allowed to hook in unless he has
Yeah.
access. In order to
It's
have
all on
access, he's
him.
going to have an easement.
Yeah.
okay, it didn't say that in the agenda packet, so I'm just asking. I don't really know why you guys had the discussion of the take-home car on as a discussion again, because I thought last time you discussed it, and three of you at least agreed to put it on as a resolution. So now you're discussing it again, and I agree with the supervisor. Some things need to be set in stone to make sure that it doesn't happen. And he pointed out at the last meeting the reasons why he thinks that, and I agree with him. So I hope you vote to make that a resolution.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Carl Oken, 68 Mountain View Road, Fishkill. I'm glad I came to the meeting tonight to talk about the Elks, but as I'm looking at the agenda, there was all these things that popped up. So in my professional career, I worked for the New York State Department of Corrections. I was a Deputy Superintendent of Administrative Services. I was instrumental in the accreditation process. The first step we took in the accreditation process, and I highly recommend it in my 15 years of working with the accreditation process, is the supervisor and the town board be trained on the accreditation process. Because obvious by our conversation, and everybody sitting in the audience, besides myself probably, you don't have any knowledge. And it's not a negative, you know, to beat everybody up, but it's just real. So the process is very complicated. We literally, at Downstate, I worked at Downstate, Greenhaven, Fishkill, Sing Sing. We had a full-time accreditation manager when we were kicking it off. We had an assistant, and then we maybe had a dozen supervisors that helped work on this process just to put these standards together. So the standard is a folder, and you have to build this folder. Wow. And all this paperwork goes in, you know, there's gonna be a set of rules that you go by, then you gotta have policies. Well, in some cases, you didn't have any of these policies that stand for what that standard calls for. So like they use the example of a protective vest. You now have to generate all that paperwork. Then you have to show evidence that you have it. And if it doesn't comply with it, like the chief said, you then have to write a letter saying that this didn't comply. So that's the first year. Then the second year, it's a 3-year accreditation process in corrections. I think it's the same for the police department. The second year, you have to add information to build the second year. And then the third year, you add information to build the third year. During the middle of these years, they change the standards on you.
Yeah.
And you have to go back and rebuild these. So it's a lot of man hours to go through it, but I really highly recommend that the supervisory board get trained in the process to really see how it goes. I was a pre-auditor. They were talking about these pre-audits. I used to go around to other facilities and do pre-audits. And it's complex. You're spending days doing this stuff, even as a pre-auditor. So I really strongly urge you guys to do that.
Thank you.
The Veterans Committee that was mentioned, I was part of that Veterans Committee in the very beginning. I saw it online. I didn't know Virgil Capilleri at all. I met him coming there, and the supervisor and John had, come to that first meeting, and there was maybe 6 people there. And then the next meeting, maybe there was 10, and the next meeting there was 14, and we went into elections. The school board, the previous board decided you had to be a veteran to be on that committee. So the only non-veteran at the committee was me. And I think the board's making a huge mistake. I have 18 years, I sold poppies with my father when I was 10 years old. I have 18 years experience working for the veterans at Castle Point VA Hospital as a representative for the Elks and also for the Beacon Elks Lodge. Just because you're not a veteran doesn't mean you can't volunteer for veterans.
Correct.
And as most veterans realize, and I think it's very important to understand this with veterans, most veterans don't stand up and look for something because they think there's veterans out there that need it more than me. Now, Ozzy, you know this firsthand, you're a veteran. And that's one of the biggest difficulties you have with reaching out to veterans that need help. They won't tell you they need help.
Right. That's true.
So, not allowing non-veterans who their heart and passion is to being part of helping our nation's heroes is a huge mistake by the town board.
Hey, Cooper, add for a discussion item for July 3rd. Add for a discussion item on July 3rd to allow non-veterans to join the Veterans Committee.
Are you going to follow the rules or are you going to
We're going to put it on the agenda for July 3rd to allow that to happen.
On the issue of the Red Schoolhouse Road, when I was deputy superintendent at Downstate Correctional Facility, I was contacted by Denise Shermer, who was the director at Stony Kill Farms. We were asked to do something to help them. So we made a Make a Difference Day project, and our facility employees went over there and cleaned up that lot. And I'm going to say it was probably around maybe 06, 07, 2006, 2007 we did that. Because it was even worse than what you saw recently before Tommy went down there and did that. Tommy did a great job. I believe Stony Kill Farm was in charge of that property. I don't know if they owned it, but Denise gave the authority for us to go there and work on that property. And they own the property right next to it, all surrounding it. It's like that schoolhouse only wasn't state property, if it's not.
It's like a 1 acre lot right on the corner.
I know it very well. So, and I know the foundation's there. We were there and spent many, many hours there cleaning that up. And
it's a pretty good
very
shape.
Impressive. So I just thought that might help a little bit there. But thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Oaken.
Thanks, Carl.
Rich Reisman, I just like to make a comment. I wouldn't consider it an agenda item, but Town Board Member Craig was seen to be carrying the water bucket for the governor. The only reason the governor, in my humble opinion, that did away right now or temporarily suspended the commuter tax is because there's an election coming up. Governor Hochul never met a tax that she didn't like. So to think that she's doing it out of the goodness of her heart, in my opinion, no way. Election's coming up. Day after election, that tax will be in effect. I just like to make that comment.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Any agenda items? All right. Good. Next up is consent agenda. The only thing we have to do is add for number 7, Cooper, is the July 3rd date for item number 7.
We can do that after it's adopted. You can just fill that in. Yeah.
Okay, so make a motion to accept the consent agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, good. Regular resolutions. Where are these guys at? You have them in front of you?
Yeah.
The first one is resolution memorializing the limitations on the use of the police chief's vehicle, ID number 9403. Excuse me. Whereas the town of Fishkill maintains a police department, and whereas the police chief of the town police department is provided with a town-owned vehicle for use in the course of the performance of his duties, and whereas in the practice of the policy of the town that the police vehicles are not to be used for purposes outside the course of performance of official duties, such as personal use or commuting to other places of employment, and whereas the town's police chief has corresponded with the town board confirming his understanding of the agreement with the town's practice of and policy in regard to the use of police vehicles, now therefore be it further resolved as follows. Number 1, the town board hereby reiterates that it is the practice and policy of the town that the police vehicles are not to be used for purpose outside the course of performance of official duties, such as the personal use or commuting to other places of employment. And 2, the town board hereby recognizes and accepts the representation from the chief of police that he understands and agrees with the said practice and policy. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Tutino?
Aye.
Councilmember Foreman?
No.
Councilmember Rye?
No.
Supervisor Alborough?
Yes, motion fails. So the chief of police is free to use the vehicle any way he wishes.
Yeah, and you're correct by saying that.
Yes.
But he has, in writing, let us all know that he will not be using that vehicle to go to his second job, and we have no reason to believe that he's not going to honor that. I've spoken to the labor attorney about this, and this resolution memorialization really doesn't need to be, we shouldn't even be wasting our time on it. And if we don't have some type of automobile standards here in Fishkill, then we need to work on that. Because there's a lot of people that drive town-owned vehicles. If we don't have anything in place, we need to work on that as a town board.
He's feel free to drive wherever he wants.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's a professional. He's not going to do that.
All right.
Welcome to the town of Fishkill. Run on the honor system.
He's not going to do it in the future. That's just,
Can we agree that we need to tighten up our automobile use?
You could present something that you can give us to look into.
Okay.
I'm not.
Well, I think we should work with the human resources director on it.
I mean, Brian, sorry, I apologize, Brian, that wasn't you, it was John. I apologize. John, we can work on that with the human resources director, but if it comes back up here and you guys vote against it again, then what's the point?
No. If there's a policy that should be in place of covering everything, and it's not in place, then that's a good idea. Is that what you're talking about, John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think that would get discovered during your.
We got to.
Order for this meeting about speaking.
Motion failed. That's it. Move to the next one. Number 2 is resolution number, what's the one-time bonus for finance? Where do you have that, Greg?
That's the next page.
Yes. Resolution authorized one-time bonus for the finance department employees, ID 9399, whereas since the retirement of the town controller in February 2024, all members of the finance department have ensured that the town continues its business functions in compliance with New York State OSC, and whereas at the May 15th, 2024 town board meeting, Supervisor Albert proposed rewarding the finance staff with a one-time bonus acknowledging their effort of hard work while being short-staffed and available funding in the controller's salary budget, and now therefore be resolved, the town board does hereby authorize to approve this one-time bonus of $2,000 to each, Corrine, Olympia, Patrick, Matthew, and a one-time bonus of $1,000 to Mary, and be it further resolved, the town supervisor and the town board extends their thanks and great gratitude to the entire Finance team for their constant work and dedication in keeping the department running smoothly. Continue to support the entire town of Fishkill staff and ensuring all departments remain in good financial standing, financial stewards and taxpayers, and be it further resolved, the town supervisor and the town board shall take any and all actions to carry out the provisions of this resolution. And be it further resolved, this resolution shall be effective immediately. Roll call.
Can we discuss it real quick?
Sure.
So, I will tell you that, I don't know why this wasn't brought up. I mean, you and I talk on certain things. You brought this up and slapped it on us without any notification, okay, which is, I think, wrong on your end. And I will tell you, if you don't already know, there are a lot of town employees, not only inside this building, but outside this building, who are upset with what we're doing. Because everybody works hard in this town. And I will, in new business, I'm gonna make a suggestion that we cease all mid-year bonuses unless they are approved, discussed and approved by, with the Human Resources Director. Because the way we operate is 1930s, just give this guy a raise and not that guy a raise. I don't like it. You should not have done that to us last month.
I asked you guys if you're okay with it, and you guys said yes.
Yeah, the night of the meeting.
So, can I just make one
Please.
more? I mean, Ozzy, you know, you and I chatted about this as well, which is along the same lines as what John is saying. It was a surprise, and so therefore, we don't, you feel for the employee and you say yes, but I know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that we've agreed that we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to go through HR, we're going to do it in an orderly fashion and not come along. I'm voting for it because I opened my mouth and I said that I would, but I know that we got to bring that under control because of that issue. I just know it's a budgetary issue, but it's also a jealousy issue and all that kind of stuff. So.
Hey, look, we're saving a lot of money by not having a controller. They're doing a lot of duties.
Of course.
Our finances, the review of the budget came through with flying colors. They do an exceptional job, shorthanded, and we're actually saving money overall this year on the controller's position. So if another department can say they can save some money and want to do something similar, I'm willing to listen to that too.
Well, let's just make sure that we do this kind of, through HR and discussions, so.
This doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Where am I at? Did I read the thing?
We got to vote on it.
Yes, you
Did I
did.
read it?
It's been moved
Yeah, you
and
voted on it.
seconded, but it hasn't been voted on.
Who seconded it? I make a motion to accept the resolution. I need a second.
Second.
Roll call vote?
All right. Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Councilmember Totino?
Yes.
Nay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Supervisor Albrook?
Yes. Passed 3-1. All right, so number 3, we're going to table to next month. July 3rd. We have no items for special consideration, new and old business. Ryan?
I'm good for now.
John?
Just to reiterate, we should be going to our Human Resources Director if we're going to be considering any mid-year bonuses, which we really shouldn't be doing anyway, but it should not be thrown at us the night of a meeting like it was last month. In addition, I'm going to speak to Carmine about creating handicap parking spots, at least at Garing Park, if not both parks.
I love it.
But I'll speak to Carmine about it and
Excellent.
report to you guys next month.
Appreciate that, John. Greg, you got anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to call attention to a couple of things really quick. The first thing is that we're going to have the 4th of July barbecue for rec for the seniors. It's coming up at the end of this month. We will not be meeting again until after this takes place, so I just did want to call attention to it right now. It's going to be on June 27th at the rec center. It's a big event every year. I've had a privilege the past 4 years to be present for that. I'm hopeful that my schedule will permit me to join this year, although I'm not certain about that at this point.
Pretty sure you need to sign up ahead of time, too.
Right? Yes, and that was what I was getting to, is that there is a sign up for that. You can call or go online, rec department, and get that because it fills up incredibly quickly. Another thing, just to speak about the diversity of the programming and things that the rec department does, there is going to be a cruise to Bermuda for the seniors on June 16th, which is just the coolest thing.
It is.
That's an amazing program to put together. They're going to be cruising to Bermuda and coming back. I am looking forward next week to going to the pickleball ribbon cutting on June 12th. That will be a great thing. Not to sort of go over the old business again, but to harken back to the supervisor's state of the town, the work which you and I have been engaged in, you as supervisor, me first as your secretary, now as a councilman for 4+ years, to invest in quality of life issues, to be able to celebrate another one of those being achieved. That's an amazing moment, and I'm looking forward to being there. Hats off to Carmine and everyone from Buildings, Grounds, Parks, Highway, all those. Building, Ground, Parks, Highways. It's a combined department now, and it's tremendous work product, and I look forward to being there for that. That's all I have.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely.
I forgot to mention this. I promised Rombout Fire District that I would do this. John and I guess a month or so ago, helped organize with Slate.
I know what you're reading.
I'm not going to read the whole thing.
Well, how about we share it? Yeah, absolutely.
No, okay, I like that. And it's about OSHA regulations that are going to cripple fire departments across the state and drive your taxes up if it goes through. So yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, so the Rumbaugh Fire District did a very good letter to the editor to the Southern Dutchess News, and if we can get that in PDF format, guys, we'll put it out the same day.
We'll get it from John Steele.
Yeah, we'll put it out.
He's kind of the ringleader.
Yeah.
John will take care of it. I'm confident of that. We'll share with everybody in Fishkill.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us on that. All right, next town board meeting is, I have nothing. Next board
July
meeting
3rd.
is July 3rd.
Going executive session?
No.
Oh,
No executive session?
Becky gave me a form.
That's gone.
It's gone.
Thank you all. God bless. We'll see you on the 3rd.
Yes.
Move to adjourn.
Motion to, second?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
Tip your waitress.